I created 4 large Christmas gift toppers. These will add such a beautiful touch to your wrapped gifts. I also have some really fun tips for you to create these. Hey everyone, it's Joy here. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I've die cut 2 different sizes from the Nested Octagons die cuts from scrapbook.com. 4 of them are with the largest and another 4 are with the second largest. Then I'm using the Simple Vintage Yuletide Rub-Ons from Simple Stories. I'm also going to be using the Bold Numbers stamp set and coordinating die, and then I wanted to show you that there is an outline stamp to that as well. That's from scrapbook.com, and this is Let It Snow from Honeybee Stamps. I'm going to be using some of those snowflakes. So I want to start with the largest pieces first, my 4 largest octagons. This is going to be our background. I'm going to ink blend using 2 different colors, Distress Oxide ink. I will be using Lumberjack Plaid and then peeled paint. I don't need to ink blend in the center because we're going to be covering that up with the smaller octagon. Now this does look like a stop sign. My husband pointed it out to me, which made me laugh, and so I am going to arrange these in a different pattern once we put these together. These are so super cute. This is perfect, like I mentioned, for the tops of packaging, gift wrapping your beautiful presents for your recipients. You could also turn this into a tag. It doesn't need to be, it can just be part of the decoration. Add a bow, add this to it. It's totally perfect. So now that I've ink blended those 2, I want to splatter. I am going to use Distress Spritz. The background here is going to be fossilized amber. I have used this a lot in my recent videos, especially since this color came out. I just think it's so pretty. It looks like a beautiful gold. So I just want to have a little bit of this distressed look. These gift toppers definitely are distressed. And like I said, I do have a couple tips for you on how to, one is how to make this go a little bit faster when you're using rub-ons, and the other one is going to be giving a distressed look. So super excited to share those with you. Let's get this last one spritzed and splattered, and now those backgrounds are going to dry. Now I'm going to start working on my smaller octagon shape. These were all die cut from white cardstock. I believe I think I used a Nina cardstock for this. I am also going to be using an acrylic block instead of my Misty because this is going to make this go much faster. So we are going to do 3rd generation stamping. I'm sure you guys have heard of 2nd generation stamping. I think that tends to be used a lot more. I'm going to use 3rd generation. I'm using Vintage Photo Distress Oxide ink. I want this color, but I don't want it dark. I want this very, very light. I want this to be very much in the background. So I'm going to ink up my stamp. I'm going to stamp it twice on a piece of scratch paper, and then the 3rd time I will stamp it on my project so that you'll see it makes it much, much lighter. I'm using different sizes of snowflakes. I do not need to cover all of the edges. I just wanted a little something extra on this background. This is the background that's going to have our rub-ons and our die cuts and all of that, but I wanted to bring another element into it. So visually we're going to have this, again, it's going to be very much in the background, but I think it adds a lot. And I love snowflakes, so I want to add snowflakes to everything, and I think it's just this perfect little addition. Now I'm going to use 2 different smaller snowflakes, again stamping it off twice onto my scratch piece of paper, and then the 3rd time onto my project. And then that's just going to give us a very, very light stamping. So let's do that here. I'm not really doing it in any order. It just how I want, just how it, I don't know, kind of where the paper is telling me to stamp it, which I know sounds kind of funny, but I feel like sometimes your projects kind of lead their own way. And so I'm not making each background exactly the same. I don't love to do mass producing like that. I do like to have a little bit of a different something going on. So I'm just going to place those down, and now that background is done. I'm going to take that same vintage photo and very lightly ink blend the edges. But where there is the stamped snowflakes, I'm going to very lightly go over the snowflakes. I am tapping off most of my ink onto my work surface before I even bring it to my paper. And so again, very lightly around the edges. I do have my blending tool on an angle, and just where it's kind of catching the edges, and then lightly going over where the snowflakes are. So that's going to be how all 4 of these backgrounds are going to look. So this is just getting it prepped and ready so we can start using our super cute Christmas rub-ons. They're from Simple Stories. It's the Simple Vintage Yuletide, and I think these are so beautiful. I want to get more of them and make cards with these. I just love them. I am going to splatter the background using Antique Linen Distress Spritz. I'm actually taking the lid out. I really want this to only kind of be around the edges and really kind of heavy over the snowflakes. I don't care that some gets in the middle, but I'm not intentionally trying to get it in the middle. I'm really working around the edges. So if I take the cap off and do it, I feel like I have a little bit more control rather than spritzing it and actually spraying it. But now we have that shiny background. In my Misty, I have some scratch white paper. I am using the Bold Numbers stamp set. I am inking that up with peeled paint. I'm taking a dry paper towel, gently dragging it across, and then gently tapping it. This is one of my tips. This is going to give us a distressed look against that solid stamp. So that solid stamp, it would just, your color would just be solid and, you know, perfect and nice. I don't want this to be perfect. I want this to feel distressed. So you can see there by just gently dragging the paper towel across and then gently tapping off some of the ink, you're going to get a distressed look. Now on this one, I actually took too much ink off. Not a problem. I'm going to stamp it, and that's when I realized, oh, I want a little more on there. I'm going to ink it and then just repeat that process. Then I have this great distressed background. Super simple, easy to do on these solid stamps. And I love the size of these numbers, you guys. I love how big this is. This is perfect for projects like this, and I definitely want to use this on a Christmas card. Then I'm going to use the coordinating die to die cut that out, and I used Lumberjack Plaid for the red. That was distressed oxide ink. I'm going to spritz those two, or splatter them, however you want to call it. This is fossilized amber. I think I take the top off for this and just get some nice, good size splatters. And in the sun, it is so shiny and so pretty, or in the light, whatever. I mean, I guess the sun is light, right? I'm sitting and recording in a room that I've got sunlight coming in, and I was just looking at them, and they're so pretty. Then I have die cut the Winter Greenery Lovely Layers from Honeybee Stamps. I'm ink blending. I'm keeping them in my cardstock. It's easier to ink blend that way, and I am using Forest Moss Distress Oxide ink for the leaves. We have our leaves, our holly berries, our leaves, and then Lumberjack Plaid for our berries. I'm going to have some of these on each one of our gift toppers. And some of these pieces, especially those smaller berries, it's just easier to keep it in your cardstock before popping it out to ink blend it. It makes it so much easier. I'm not trying to do a perfect ink blend. I'm just getting the color on there. And then of course, splattering that with the Distress Spritz Fossilized Amber. I'm going to do that for both of those. And then I can set that aside to dry once I'm done. And when I'm taking this out and splattering it, it's because I want big splatters, not a bunch of that fine mist that you would get from spritzing it. Okay, onto the rub-ons. And then I have my second tip here. I'm going to place this down on one of my backgrounds. I cut out that Santa head. Oh, isn't he so great? I love this Santa. I am lining him up where I want. And then I'm going to place that in my die cut machine and run it through my die cut machine. It does all the rubbing for you, and then I can just gently peel off the plastic and he is already on there. Isn't that a great, fun, fast technique? or tip. I totally got that from scrapbook.com's one of their lives. One of their viewers says, hey, just run it through a die cut machine. It goes so much faster. Then I have the cute little Dear Santa. I'm going to place that down at the bottom, making sure it's straight. And do be careful when you stick down your rub-ons. Sometimes they can stick before you're ready for them to stick. So be mindful of that. Again, I ran that through my die cut machine. I'm going to bring in another sentiment. I do like that ho, ho, ho. And I'm obviously placing my numbers in there so I can kind of see where I want things to go. But I do want this ho, ho, ho at the top. Really just kind of deciding how I want my numbers to be. But I think that's cute. And you can overlap the rub-ons onto a rub-on that's already on your cardstock. So not a big deal. So this ho 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 is going to overlap part of that Santa. And I'm going to peel that off and look at how cute that is. So that's the start of one of our gift toppers. I do have a little piece left over from one. I just used the popsicle stick that does come with the rub-ons to rub that on. So you can do it that way too. You don't have to run it through your die cut machine, but it is so much faster and is such a time saver. I'm going to use these beautiful flowers here, and I am alternating with, if I've got the green numbers, I'm going to do the red background. If I have the red numbers, I'm going to do the green background. So that's kind of how I'm going to lay this out. Let's pop that into place, run that through the die cut machine, and then peel off the release paper. And then I can decide what else I want to bring in. I do want to bring in another sentiment. I'm going to use the Believe sentiment. Again, just trimming it out with my scissors, super easy. I do add, there's that little star that's with the Believe sentiment. I'm going to add that too because I like that. But you guys can see those snowflakes around the edges, that little bit of ink blending definitely lends to the distressed vintage look, which is obviously what I was going for with these gift toppers. How cute is that? I do add something to that here in just a little bit, and I'll come back to that. Now we're on to our third one. I'm going to use this cute sleigh. This is going to say, we wish you a Merry Christmas. Now, something I wish I hadn't done. I wished I would have cut the star off of there. I kind of wasn't thinking ahead as much as I should have, because I do have to add my Christmas sentiment across, and I just layered it across it, and it's not the end of the world. I think it still looks very lovely, but I would not have put that bottom star on here. Now I'm going to die cut that big Christmas word that should fit underneath. I was just kind of thinking about what sentiments I wanted. I really wanted it to say, we wish you a Merry Christmas. So I do end up going with that. But as you can see, there's tons of sentiments. I think it's fantastic. So I'm going to cut apart the we wish you a Merry from the word Christmas. That way they can be in two different spots. So I'm going to line this up. It's going to overlap some of that because that's how it fits. It does not have to be perfect. It is not perfect, and I think that is the charm of handmade stuff anyways. I think we have a little more room to do things, and it's okay if it's not exactly right. I'm going to run that through the die cut machine. Now we have our sentiment up there, and then that's where our 25 can fit. I do bring in the word Noel there at the bottom. I felt like it was just a little too plain, so I'm going to add that down here. And I will use the stick for that because it was just a little bit faster. Well, not really faster. It was kind of about the same amount of time just to run it through my die cut machine. No big deal. Let's do our last one. I love this deer. I think it's so pretty. I love the background that it has to it. I am going to keep those stars. I just want to line this up and make sure I don't cover up his face with my numbers, and then run that through the die cut machine. And if there's a little piece hanging over from the rub-on, just tuck it around your cardstock and rub that down. I'm going to use the Peace on Earth sentiment and place that at the bottom. This was kind of a big image, so I didn't need to add a ton more to it. So making sure that's nice and straight. Look at how cute that is. I'm going to bring in this last one, and I'm going to add the December 25 to the top. I thought it just needed one more thing. So I'm going to place that at the top, and then that one is good. And I'm going to add, I think I add a star to this. Nope. Nope, I'm good. I don't add a star to that. Okay, I did speed this up quite a bit. Let's glue this together. I'm using 3mm foam adhesive, and then I'm just going to rotate my octagon in the background and then place the other one over. So kind of a flat area to a point area, if that makes sense. So now it doesn't look like a stop sign. And I'm going to add 2mm foam adhesive behind all of my numbers. I'm just taking off the release paper and then I can just bend it around. I do have some of the numbers overlapping each other just a little bit, and I do like that look. I think it's very charming. So I'm going to do that for all of my gift toppers here. This does go really, really quick actually. This was a really fun project to make. I love the rub-ons so much. These images are absolutely stunning. I just think the vintage Christmas is so, so pretty, and I'm really enjoying making projects with it. Let's get our deer here. Lining that up, getting some foam adhesive again behind our bold numbers here. Again, I love these bold numbers. I just think they're so much fun, and I just want to use them for all kinds of things. Definitely could use them for more cards for Christmas. Could use them for Valentine's Day, obviously for birthdays. You know, if you want to make a specific birthday card for someone with their age, I think this is totally perfect. And again, there is the coordinating die and the outline stamp. Something I forgot to mention and I didn't show in my video is when you die cut the outline, this is the center part. When you die cut, it has the center part here, and then it has an outline. So you get 2 die cuts from that one die cut. So it's really, really awesome. Now let's add our greenery. I'm going to add 2 leaves to each gift topper, and I'm going to add it to the numbers, and then 3 berries. There's different sizes, so I am doing different sizes of berries. Super, super simple. It just adds that extra something to it. I love having the greenery on the numbers. You could also, if you didn't want to do greenery, you could add a small sentiment across the numbers, like a stamped sentiment or even a die cut sentiment. You could add that. That would be a really nice addition as well. But to me, this didn't have to say stuff. It didn't have to necessarily be a greeting or a sentiment or anything like that, even though I do have things on there, because this is a gift topper, so it really could be whatever you want to be. It's just a decoration, and I think that's kind of what was so fun about this. And then I used a hole punch to make my hole at the top, and then I'm just going to use some twine and just make a little knot at the top, putting that through, and then we can take a look at these up close. You guys can really see just how pretty these are. So the 2 tips I gave were using your die cut machine to help with your rub-ons, and then how to distress those bold numbers. And I just think those are really super easy tips that really create something beautiful. Look at this. Look at the shimmer and shine from the different distress spritz. Look at those gorgeous rub-ons. Those are so pretty. And then I think those bold numbers are just a fantastic addition to these gift toppers. Or like I said, you could also make them tags. How gorgeous are these? You could even make these ornaments if you wanted to. I just think they're so, so pretty. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this project. I hope you guys feel inspired by these, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.